Gukesh is a fighter. We all know that. We saw it at the Olympiad when he converted a very, very difficult opening position into a victory against Caruana. But how does this boy do it again and again to land up in a difficult situation and then convert it against super strong players? Let's look at this game, which was played in the fourth round of the Spanish League, where Gukesh is playing with the black pieces against Anton Guijarro. Now, Anton Guijarro is rated 2662, but I would say that he's very, very strong. Maybe even stronger, as much as 2700. He's been there before. So Gukesh is playing with black. And one more thing to note is that 4 games have been completed. Gukesh is on 3.5 points and he has had 3 blacks. So that's taking a lot of responsibility for the team of Solvay. E4, C5, knight f3, knight c6. Gukesh always goes for the Sicilian and everyone wants to test him in the Rosolimo. No one wants to go d4 against him because they know that, okay, he will be well prepared over there in the open Sicilian. So Rosolimo. And now Gukesh has he's played extensively g6. He's also played e6 in this tournament. But today he goes for a new move, that is e5. And this is an interesting thing. He's trying to be flexible so that the opponent doesn't get to know what he's doing. First thing to note is that you can't win this pawn because of, it's a very typical theme in the Ruy Lopez, so you would know about it. Yes, not queen e7. That's not the best move because of d4, but queen d4, attacking the knight and the pawn. This is the best way to continue, and black is better there. So castles was played. Now Gukesh played a very interesting move here, bishop d6. So why do you put your bishop there? It's because you want to maybe develop your knight to e7. Say this is an example line, knight a3, because you want to bring your knight to c4. So I go knight e7. Now my knight defends c6. Okay. So if you go knight c4, I'll drop the bishop back, maybe later play d6, then a6, then b5. This is how play could continue, and black is doing very well. So bishop c4 was played. And now Gukesh decided that, there's no need for knight e7 here because the pressure on c6 is lost, especially now knight g5 is also finishing off the game. Castles, queen h5. Should not do that. So he went knight f6, d3, bishop e7, knight c3, d6, a4, castles, bishop d2. This position has a lot of feel of the d3 Ruy Lopez. It's kind of a feel. h6, h3, bishop e6 played. And now knight to d5, and actually a key moment in the game has been reached, and you have to figure out how would you deal with this knight on d5. You definitely can't take it with the knight because pawn takes and then it forks the 2 pieces. You want the knight to stay there because it keeps pressurizing the bishop and also the knight. Well, the best move here was to take on d5 with the bishop, but Gukesh waits for a bit. He first plays a6. Anton fixes the structure with a5, and now the use of the bishop on d2 is seen. This is one of the main ideas of bishop d2. And now he takes. Pawn takes. And over here, everyone was kind of sure that Gukesh will go knight b4 because then he attacks this pawn twice. It cannot be defended, so you must chop off this knight. Take, take. And then this pawn, I guess he felt could be weak in this way. But I think black has b5, bishop b3. And yes, he might lose this pawn here. But also the d5 pawn remains weak. Like rook a7, queen b4, queen a8. Trying to put pressure on d5, and it's not so easy to hold on to it. So this was something that Gukesh could have thought of, but he went knight b8. And the moment he went here, now look at how white just pounces over him. Yeah, Anton Guijarro is just amazing in the next few moves. Knight h4, great move, angling to come to f5. So Gukesh makes space for the bishop on f8, knight f5, bishop f8, rook e1. He goes king h7. He wants to kick the knight away. Okay, queen f3, he kicks it away, knight goes back. Now knight bd7. So you will see that these pieces are well positioned. But this maneuver of bishop b3, bishop a4 was also very cool. Rook f8 and now rook a b1. So white has kind of the bishop pair. He is also going to open up this pawn, this side here. b7 will be weak. So already you can sense that the pressure is mounting on Gukesh. But Gukesh, as calm as a cucumber, he just rook c8, c4, rook c7, queen e2, knight g8. So what he does, now look at his way of playing. He first saved everything. Okay, he said, okay, I'm protecting b7 so that in future if you go b4, I'm ready for it. And then he's angling for his active play with f5. True, it's not going to give him a big attack or something now, but just keep it ready. Maybe it will come in handy at some point. b4 takes bishop. Here, I think Anton Guijarro could have taken on b4. There was no need for him to first take the knight and then play rook b4 as he did in the game. Because imagine he does this. What could be his worry? I'm just trying to think. Would it be that Gukesh can put his knight on c5? But that is not great because after bishop takes, if you take with the pawn, you lose the e5 pawn. If you take with the rook, then you lose b7 pawn. So knight c5 wasn't possible. And why should he give up with his good bishop there? So this helped Gukesh a bit. Rook d7, rook b4. And now he plays f5. Rook b1 putting pressure on b7. So queen c8 was saved. Rook b3 and now this nice little move, rook f7. So with these two rooks on the 7th, he's going to defend this way and the bishop will just move back to f8. Bishop c3, bishop f6, bishop g7. So now everything is well defended and he's telling Guijarro, okay, Anton, find the way to break through. For Anton, it's not easy. He sees that there are two weaknesses here. So he goes rook b6, Gukesh goes knight f6 and now attacks d6. So Gukesh instantly goes queen d8, defends it. Queen a2 and now the next part of the plan where he tries to create some play knight h5. Good move. He's looking at f4, maybe the d3 weakness. The queen could come to g5, put pressure here. You know, small play. Queen a3. Putting pressure on d6. Bachalo. Save it. Bishop d2, g5. Save your weaknesses, promote your plan slowly. No hurry. What's the plan? You don't know yet. But you're putting pressure on your opponent. g3. Knight comes back. Queen c1. f4. Queen d1. Queen e8. And now he played bishop c3. Bishop g7. g4. So already I would say that white is still kept his very major chunk of advantage because at the end of it, you know, bishop is terrible. Your bishop is good on c3. You can also try an exchange of the knights. But here, white played the move, black played the move h5. And with this move, Anton could have called Gukesh's bluff and taken the pawn. So this is again one of the things that Gukesh works on. He tries to sort of make a move that is a bit provocative and opponent, if he's alert, can grasp it. But you know, taking here comes with its own chunk of risk. You are breaking the structure and you may be afraid that he will go rook f e7 and with the queen and knight looking here, this can become quite dangerous. But if you are alert, you will see that now if you attack on d6, it's not so easy to defend. There's no bishop f8 here. The rook is in the way. Queen d8 and then now knight h2. So the pawn is saved and the knight is coming to g4. Also another idea could be king h6, which maybe Gukesh might want to play, but knight h2, knight h5, bishop b4 attacking d6, bishop f8, knight g4 and now knight e5. So that, you know, if you take, then I'll take on h5. So there are all these very accurate tactics that were there, but he went knight d2, he didn't take. So now Gukesh again takes, bishop f8, saves the thing, queen f3, king g8. He's ready to take over the h file. Maybe a possibility here was c5 in the position, because if you take here, then after rook e6, white is doing exceedingly well with the other rook coming to b6. But he went knight e4. Okay, fine, takes. Gukesh goes rook h7. King f1, trying to run away. And now this is the moment where Gukesh now sort of feels it. Okay, this is move 46, some pressure on my opponent. I'm getting you know, a little bit untangled here. So black to play, what would you do? Well, the best move here is queen c8. If you found that, amazing move, really fantastic. But Gukesh plays this move f3. Oof, what a move. And the thing is that he is threatening mate in one already, and this is a blow to the opponent. He's like, all the time I was attacking, now all of a sudden he's threatening mate in one. What went wrong? Well, the thing is that here you need to keep your cool, play king e1, check, king d2. And white is super safe. Pawn on f3 is weak, and white is better. But you lose your cool. He took the pawn. And now, what does Gukesh do? What's the move he had prepared? Rook df7. Getting the rook. Now the two rooks looking here. Now all of a sudden, if you see, this weakness here means very little, because now the white king is under fire. Queen e3. Queen c8. Putting pressure on g4. And now if queen takes g5, there is rook h g7, then g4 falls. So he went queen e4, rook f4, allowing a check, king h8. Now the best move here was queen takes g5. It is very difficult to play this because of rook g4, check, bishop g7, queen d6. By the way, you shouldn't play queen d6. You must play queen e6 here, and the position is complicated. But if you play queen d6, what is the winning move for black here? Try to find. This is an important little tactical trick. Check. And if you take here, I take this and mate. So you can't take, you have to come king e2, but then I move in. Check. King here, check. King here, oops, sorry. If king e2, then rook h2 is just over. And if king c2, also take, and rook h2. And it's black who has broken through, not white. In the game, he didn't take on g5 here because he saw all these dangers perhaps, and time must be running low. Queen e6 played, and this was a blunder. There were very few moves now that white could have played, but queen e6, and now it's your move. What should Gukesh play here in order to sort of win the game? Yes, the best move is queen c5, threatening a mate in one. Of course, Anton saw it, and he saw that if he goes bishop e1, then there are many ways in which black can win. One is rook h1 and rook h2, which is very powerful. The other one is queen e3 with the idea of rook h1, and white is powerless against this attack. So that's the reason why he played bishop e5. Well, you can look at other possibilities. Rook b2, there is queen e3 again, threatening rook h1. It's the same stuff. Bishop e5, de, queen e5, bishop g7, queen e8, rook f8, blocking it. Now Gukesh is a piece up. Check, king h2, king g2, and now your move. What do you play here as black? Black to play, finish off the game. Two moves win. Gukesh played rook takes f2, bone crushing move. First of all, if you take with the queen, which is kind of the only move, then a check, king takes, a check, king here, and then a check, and the king moves to the dark square and the bishop joins in to launch a mating attack. So let's say king h2, check, king g1, check, king h2, and now check, and you are losing because here, take, and you just everything falls off. In fact, the game is over. Let's say king f1, I have queen f3 check. If king here, then bishop c3 mate. And if you play king h2, bishop e5 check, king h1, then queen h3 check, and bishop d4. So you see, there are all these mating ideas. So after rook f2, he resigned. The other winning move here is rook h2. Same concept. Take here, you take on f2, and that also wins. But after rook f2, Anton resigned and Gukesh won. So you get this thing, right? How he sort of hangs in there. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. And yes, he plays risky chess. Yes, there are possibilities that it may not work against the absolute best in the world, but we'll have to wait and watch. This was a very gritty win by Gukesh, and let's just have a look at what that means. So first thing is that Gukesh now moves to world number 18. His ELO is 2734. He's now become India number 2 ahead of Arjun Erigaisi, which is a great thing for the youngster. They both are fighting, for the second spot. But moving ahead, that's the most important thing. Here's a picture of Gukesh during the game. They're totally focused. There's also the standings and his team, Gukesh's team, along with Hari Krishna, Solve doing exceedingly well on 8 out of 8. They are at the top now with 4 games done. There are 3 more games in this tournament. Here is Team Solve coming to the venue. You can see there Hari Krishna with Anna Muzichuk, Gukesh in the background there. And also Hari Krishna scored a very pretty win. I'm going to try and make a video on that against Krivoruchko. And also Nihal Sarin scored a brilliant win, which I also want to cover. So there's a lot of work to do. But guys, for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye-bye.